Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and my name is Keith James. I'm your facilitator for this forum on Sri Lanka. We have an excellent lineup of eminent speakers who will be covering some serious environmental and social issues relating to Sri Lanka. The topic for today is mining and the broader environmental degradation in Sri Lanka. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the waterways we are on today, wherever we are located. I would also like to pay my respects to the elders past and present, and to other traditional owners who may be with us today. Before we go into this, we have a few housekeeping rules. We ask all participants to keep your mics on mute. We will hear from our speakers firstly, and then there will be time for a question and answer session. And if you want to ask any questions from our esteemed panelists, I kindly direct you towards the chat box. Please write your questions there. And when it's question and answer time, I will direct them to the relevant speaker should you choose to direct your question to a relevant panelist, or I will open it in general to the people on the floor. A short recap of our topic. Basically, Sri Lanka is home to several UNESCO World Heritage Sites and the Ramsar wetlands. Of these, two natural reserves, being the Singaraja Forest and the Central Highlands of Sri Lanka, take prominence. Today's topic aims to educate the public with respect to the prevalent environmental challenges facing Sri Lanka and the imminent risks due to the proposed deregulation framework by the government of Sri Lanka. The ecological environment of Sri Lanka is facing an increasing threat from both foreign and local corporations who are spending a significant amount of political capital to lobby the government to deregulate environmental protection measures under the guise of development. These lobbying efforts have resulted in harmful proposals being put forward without appropriate impact studies being conducted as to the harms they may cause to the environment. To discuss both the tangible and intangible harms from such actions, we have a panel of experts present today. Their discussions will take us through how Sri Lanka, given its strategic location in the Indian Ocean, is being used as a proxy for larger superpowers to further their geopolitical interests. Our panelists will also cover the serious environmental issues facing the island nation, including how the gem industry has over time become seriously unsustainable in its mining, how the scale of deforestation and land grabbing in the nation has impacted its fragile biodiversity and social well-being of those local communities. Finally, we will hear a presentation on a highly topical issue surrounding the investigative drilling in Mana, located in the northwest of Sri Lanka. This drilling, or this investigative drilling, is being done to extract ilmenite, a rare mineral sand. The presenter will demonstrate the long-lasting consequences to the social fabric of the local communities and the marine and natural environments should the government permit the mining of the resources. To take us through all of these topics, we have Mr. Hemantha Vithanage, who will discuss the strategic location of Sri Lanka and how it is being used by global superpowers to further their geopolitical interest. Mr. Hemantha will also cover some of the serious environmental issues the country is currently facing. Then we have Mr. Tilak Kariyavasam, who will highlight how unsustainable practices of the Sri Lankan legal and illegal gem mining industry is degrading the local environment. Following from that, we will have Dr. Ravi Kariyavasam, who will cover the deforestation and land grabbing that has happened in Sri Lanka by multinational corporations in the guise of development. Lastly, we have Mr. Jeremy Lianage, who will talk about investigative drilling that is currently underway in Mana and how their efforts to extract ilmenite will have serious damaging consequences to the livelihoods of the local flora, fauna, and marine environment in the region. So to get us started today, I would like to invite Mr. Hemantha Vithanage to make the first presentation of the evening. Thank you, Mr. Hemantha.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks to all the organizers behind this effort. I'm Hemantha Vithanage. I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Justice, which is a legal organization in Sri Lanka. We just last week we had a serious victory on the destruction of Vilpattu National Park connected forest area, and it was asked the forest department to replant almost like 3,000 hectares of forest. And also the minister, former minister, was behind this decision to pay the cost. So I think that's still we have some hopes about how we can change the way that government is acting. Now, when it comes to Sri Lanka is as Keith mentioned, it's a beautiful place. It has historical sites. It has nice, beautiful beaches. It has a lot of wildlife areas. And we love this pristine country. It's an island nation, and it has a long history, and we are the beginners of hydraulic civilization. So we have lot to offer to the tourist and the people coming from other countries in this beautiful island. But at the same time, we see that there are a lot of other interests coming. For example, the Belt Road Initiative is one of the initiative by Chinese government, and this Chinese government is connecting more than 75 countries all around the world under the Silk Road. It has an ocean Silk Road, it has a land Silk Road, and both of them connected through the various harbors, road projects, and various different Chinese connected projects. In Sri Lanka, we have this Colombo Port City on the top picture, and the below you see the Hambantota Harbor. So we had a legal struggle for last several years. This started from 2015, and yesterday the Court of Appeal, even without our presence, so they just dismissed the court case, and we don't know the reason, but we went to the courts based on that there's no enough EIA has done in this particular investment in Sri Lanka. This is going to be filling 265 hectare land in the ocean next to Colombo Harbor. It's also going to be few billion, and it will construct until 2041. At the same time, the Hambantota Harbor, which is in the southern part of Sri Lanka, it was a beautiful lagoon with more than 10,000 flamingos you can see at one point. But unfortunately they destroyed this lagoon area, and they built this Hambantota Harbor. And after this Hambantota Harbor was constructed, the government found that they cannot pay back the loans got from China, and they gave the whole asset to Chinese company, China Hub Corporation, and they got about 1.4 billion US dollars, which now they are paying for the debt. Now, in this particular instances, we lost the pristine environment, and we also lost the harbor. So there's no much benefits to the country in this work. And this is Mana Peninsula, and you can see this is a part that it connecting to the India through Adams Bridge. It's a beautiful environment. You can see a lot of birds because that's in the Asian flyway, and the birds coming from India comes to Sri Lanka through this small peninsula. And they stay in Wankali National Park and also Veditalativ area, and after that they go in beautiful area. But now there are certain activities. So Jeremy is going to speak more about this issue, but I just want to show that two important things that we are also concerned. One is the oil exploration. So last several years they have done oil exploration and the gas exploration, and this Kairan India, so they found gas, and they say it's up to the business level. So they might any moment they might start drilling, which might create more environmental disasters rather than getting environmental benefit, social and economical benefits. And this particular one, again, I'm sure Jeremy is going to speak a lot, but this is about the titanium sands, which is a company, Australian company, and they're going to do the but we found that they don't have the mining license yet. And there's a issue about how it's going to create social environmental issues. And another Australian company, Magosa, get involved in the graphite mining. So they are doing this graphite exploration in the Kalutara district. At the moment, they started drilling in certain areas, and a lot of people comes to me saying that, so they already lost their water in their water well, and also they have the dust coming. Graphite dust is really dangerous. It's carcinogenic. So there are issues that they are raising at the moment. So this is another Australian company called Magosa. When this government came to power, they started a few things, and one is the mining and the sand and soil transport licensing. They cancelled, but fortunately, so my organization, environmental justice, we were able to go to the courts and reverse that decision. But there are other sort of mining, the mineral sand mining, graphite mining. All this mining is one of the major area for the current regime. Then there are a lot of land grabbing. The below picture, you see that we took about 2 weeks ago, and here they are going to get about, they're going to clear about 40,000 hectares of forest area, and then do the maize cultivation. This is a serious issue, and I believe Ravi is going to speak on this subject as well. So I'm not going to touch more, but we have a issue that the government cancelled one of the forest circular which gave the protections to the other forest other than the reserve forest and the conservation forest, and now they are going to give this to the under control of the divisional secretary. So the divisional secretaries can give it for chain cultivation as well as for other economic activities. And also we see there are a lot of other Chinese investments are coming. Why we are concerned about Chinese investment? Because they don't respect social environmental safeguards. And sometimes at the end we lose our assets. So this is happening in Africa, and this happened in Sri Lanka in the Hambantota Harbour. So we are very concerned about our economy, our natural environment, as well as our social issues. So Sri Lanka is one of the hotspot at the moment, because because of the Belt Road Initiative. Chinese interest is very much in the Indian Ocean. Because of the Chinese interest, the United States, India, Australia, and they all have the big concern about this part of the ocean or the globe. And this Sri Lanka is a very small nation, very small economy without much strong, powerful politics here. So we are really in the hot seat. So we are like a sandwich at the moment between the big powers, and we are wondering how our government is going to tackle these geopolitical issues. So that's all I'm going to share with you, but my colleagues, Tilak, Ravi, and Jeremy, and all give you more details about this issue. So once again, thank you so much for the opportunity given.
Thank you, Mr. Hemantha. That was a wonderful presentation, and no doubt very enlightening for all of us. To continue on the good work that Mr. Hemantha did, we have Mr. Tilak Karyavasan with us here today, and he will highlight how unsustainable both the legal and illegal mining industry, gem mining industry in Sri Lanka has been. Mr. Tilak, the floor is over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Give me a second for yeah. Good afternoon to everyone from Sri Lanka. I think it is important to talk about environmental impact of gem mining in Sri Lanka. You know, it is famous, our gems in around the world and different jewelries we are making out of these gems. In Sri Lankan gem mining having a lot of impact to the environment. That is what I am going to talk today. You see the little bit background of what is gem deposit in Sri Lanka. This is the first the map is showing how the deposits are in the different geological zoning in the country, and the second picture it is showing, and the Sri Lankan Gem and Jewellery Authority designated different type of gem to the different district and the important areas of the country. When it comes to the illegal gem mining, the vast area is happening with the illegal gem mining. There are some the small quantities with the legal gem mining, but mostly it is happening with the illegally. The second picture, it's showing where to where it is happening in the country. All the river basins, the important river basin are covered with that. This gem mining is a kind of a traditional technology with there are the 2,500 history with this, but you see still it's unmatured technology which is harmful to the environment and other things. If I am going to talk about this gem, how it is depositing in the little bit of geological things, this gem bearing rocks are here, and then you get different alluvial deposits and alluvial deposits and the river banks and all other areas you get. And this is how it is with the bearing it in different the what is called geological layers. So this is how they do. You can see how this difficult job is taken by these people. So without having the social, the health measures, social measures, or any kind of protection, or the kind of safe the measures they are not taking when they are going down deeper into the ground. Even though this is when you are going to the ground in the inside of the gem pits, you don't have the initial protection, even the basic protection in the you are wearing you are not wearing any safe the kits or any other things. So when it comes to the environment, I'm going to talk about these things in the one by one. It's a lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and sociosphere. I will talk about these things one by one. Especially the 5 major areas I am categorizing as environmental impact concerns. Damage to the natural vegetative cover, plantation and rice field degradation of the land and the health hazard, damage to the stream and the river banks, destruction to the fauna, and sedimentation and water pollution. These are the 5 major areas where you get this environmental destruction with gem mining in here. The natural vegetative cover, it's how it is damaging to the vegetative cover. I am going to show you some pictures as well. You see, these are the rice fields, some areas. The first picture is showing it, and you see, as I told you, there are no any safety measures, and they are just working without doing taking as a risk. In the second picture, it is showing you how the rivers are getting this damage. Then when it comes to the lithosphere, the increasing soil erosion, it is directly, you can see it, and riverbank erosions, sedimentation with the rivers, and you are getting flooding and a lot of landslide with this. And when it comes to the rivers and river banks, there are instead of going the traditional system, what these illegal people are doing, they have a suction pumps, and it is because of the gem pits are filling with the water immediately. Therefore, they should have a suction pumps, and that they are using these different machineries and gravel removing. They are using different machineries, and the large-scale operation also happening now with the mechanized operations, and therefore it is series damages are done to the rivers and the river banks or the streams. You can see how it is. This is a river bank, and next to the river bank they are putting a gem pit, and these are the machineries they are using, sucking pumps and all other things. And when it comes to the hydrosphere, water pollution is a key area where you are getting in there are the lot of rivers where you get the drinking water in the most of the people in the country, and it is we have to put a lot of money to purify this the river water which we are drinking. Groundwater depletion, you see how these pits sucking the groundwater, and therefore it is a problem to the groundwater. And reduction of irrigation efficiency, of course, in some of the rivers and some of the areas having a lot of problem with this. This mainly due to the illegal activities, but legal activities also doing harmful way of this thing. And the gemstones, to find the gemstones, mostly there are high taxes and all the kind of licensing fees, and when you do the illegal mining, you don't want to pay anything, those things, and also the places where you are doing it, it is a very protected area sometimes. Even the small place, if you are doing with this gem pit like this, it is damaging to the environment with the different vegetations and also to the water as well. Normally these people are clearing the forest. Some of the primary forests are clearing to having this gem pit, and therefore it is a big problem in some of the areas. This it is also damaging to the wild fauna as well. Particularly some communities, when you analyze their routing, they are mainly agriculture workers, or either depending on the agriculture. If they don't have much money coming from the agriculture or the working as laborers in the plantations, they move it to this illegal gem mining with the surrounding areas. Some of the plantation and agriculture land, if you are removing topsoil, it is also having a problem with the agriculture efficiency and also the irrigation efficiency. Even these rivers, when they do this, and it is also the illegal, they are putting some barriers and a lot of other stone they are removing, and due to that, sometime when the rain's coming, it's flooding a lot of unnecessary areas, even the people's settlements. It is also creating series of social problems because of due to this high demand of the different gem varieties. Some of the people are moving instead of their the agriculture, either rice, paddy, or the other crops. They are not properly doing it because of this difference, the money coming out of these gem pits, illegal gem pits, and it is also causing to the lot of health problems such as malaria, and nowadays with the dengue. And there are a lot of cases because some people, when they do with these gem pits, they are not properly closing those things, and due to water stagging, and you can see the mosquito problem also raising up. Reduction of potential of agriculture, it's as I told you, it is also series problems. The structural damages, some of the cities also under these gem tunnels, because without knowing the government authorities, some of the roads are under the road. There are a lot of tunnels going with this gem pits. So most illegal mining has happening with the plantation of the either tea or rubber, because Ratnapura, Nuwara, Matale, some of these areas based on tea, either tea or rubber, and therefore this the illegal gems mining is happening in those plantations. This is the incident what happened. The two laborers, husband and wife, digging gem pit in the one of the plantation, and suddenly its rain came and they drawn into this pit, and like that there are a lot of incident in the country with this illegal gem mining. National Gem and Jewellery Authority, they have a set of guideline and they have a kind of a regulation, but still, even though they are legal gem feeds, they are not following proper rules, or they are not properly monitoring how they are doing, and due to that also serious problem also coming from the legal gem mine. And this is something I want to show you. This is inside the one of the bigger forest, and they are digging this. It is also happening to the lot of problems in the forest, the destructions, and even to the atmosphere. It is also happening. This they are using for these different water machines and all that, water pumps. They are using the kerosene, and therefore it is a lot of emissions coming out from those things, and it is a serious problem also creating surrounding environment. And even though the legal mining is happening with the environmental impact assessment, even though they are demanding it, sometimes it's not properly the following the general environmental regulations, the Central Environmental Authority guidelines. They are not following. Therefore, it is causing to the lot of other problems as well. You see how this digging happening, and to the river banks, also to the paddy fields. You can see the first picture and the second picture. And the licensed gem mining, it's not saying it is okay. Somehow there should be a strengthened licensing system, and also the legal system has to be strengthened, because the proper monitoring system has to be placed, and therefore we can't say the licensed gem mining is good. You see, these are the licensed gem minings, creating a lot of problems. The next to the forest and also in the river as well. The forest reserves are getting damaged with this, and it should be attention when they are issuing license. They should concern of the nearby environment as well. You see, this is next to the Matale area, next to the forest reserve. It is a problem to the forest reserve now. This has to be considered. You see, when they found the very important gem somewhere, and a whole group of illegal mining people are going to there and destroy the environment as a disaster. You see, this is something happened in some years ago in the near to the Hambantota district. Actually, these all the problems are causing to flooding, and also we can see the connection to the climate change, and it is we has to think about if we are giving license to this industry, it will be creating a lot of these unnecessary problems, and we have to be careful with. And this is the new movie of the government. Government are now trying to acquire all the uncultivated the plantations which was under the government, given to the plantation companies. Now the government is setting back the new regulation to acquire lands from the plantation companies, with especially the gem deposits. What government want to do, they want to sell it out somebody else who can be get out these gems and with the commercial way, and they will use the larger machineries and create the havoc with the environment in the surrounding area. With that, these different issues, we are as an environment organization, what we can highlight here, that we could give a kind of a recommendation, especially to the government of Sri Lanka and Gem and Jewellery Authority, and also to the consumers around the world. Especially, we should put attention to create awareness nearby communities on this gem mining, especially in the illegal gem mining, the people who are facing with the environmental issues surrounding. And when they are issuing license, as I said, setting up community monitoring committees to the pressurize to the legal gem miners to look at the environment guidelines. And also the next one we can think about, there should be as an environmental organization also we could get some measures with this legal support service and environmental support service to those concerned group with those environmental destructive areas with this gem mining. Introducing environment-friendly, modernized technologies other than the harmful method. There are the harmful method machineries are using to this industry. Therefore, the different institution can engage with this to look at this how it can be environmental-friendly methodologies and method and machinery. Yeah, I'm in the last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We'll let you finish. Thank you.
Strengthen laws and update legal system, present day context, revitalizing the updating Central Environment Authority guideline with gem mining. We also recommending 24-hour alert mobile from the police or Gem and Jewellery Authority. setting up ethical gem jewelry branding standard to avoiding environment social hazard. It should be created in a system to educate consumers when they are buying it, and they can think about what they are buying with the environmental concerns. That's it from my side. Thank you for your patience to hearing me, and let's look at how we can avoid this destruction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tilak. Who knew such a beautiful product could be so harmful to our environment? I think the audience have had a lot of information to digest. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, and when we return, we will have Dr. Ravindra and Jeremy to help us out and explain more on the environmental harms in Sri Lanka.
Hi, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I cannot hear.
Oh, no, Marisol, we're taking a 5-minute break.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I think we can all get back into the flow of things. Thank you for being patient with us. I encourage all in the audience to submit any questions you have to our panelists, and we can direct them to them after the presentations are done. Without wasting any more time, I would like to invite Dr. Ravi Karyavasan to explain to us the harmful impacts of deforestation and land grabbing that is going on in Sri Lanka, particularly by the multinational organizations. Dr. Ravi, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening to everyone. So I think you will share the presentation in the screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so our big focus is deforestation and land grabbing in Sri Lanka by multinational companies. We can see how land grabbing and deforestation happening now. If we focus on the forest, actually forest is not only the trees, but everything is there. Forest help us to breathe, sustain the life and climate, regenerate the food, and this is the protection of our Mother Earth, and it's an example for Earth democracy. And if we want to do the politics, there's an example how to be in good politics. We can see many things and we can take many examples to be good politicians and from the forest. Actually, this is the big lesson we can learn from the forest. You can see the land grabbing and deforestation rates in Sri Lanka. If we focus to 1881, the population rate was 2.4%, and forest cover was 82% in Sri Lanka, 1881. But 1983, it is 15.1%, and forest cover decreased to 27%. In 2007, population increased to 90.4%, and forest decreased to 70%. And like this, forests are decreasing every time in Sri Lanka, day by day, it's decreasing. And the next slide, we can see how we are in the global forest rate. Food and Agriculture Organization has been done a research about the primary forest degradations, and we are a fourth country among the list who are destroying the forest. You can see here. Also, the Gothenburg University confirmed this data with their research, and you can see we are in the vast deforested country and the destroy of the primary forest in the world nowadays. So next slide, we can see our biodiversity. Even we have the little and little forest and the little area of the land. We have much species of the biodiversity. This is from the 2012 red list done by the Ministry of Environment. If we talk about the species and the endemic species, we are in a very rich endemic species we have. When we focus to the flora species, we have 3,159 flora species. 4 species are endemic, but we have to tell the most species are going to extinct due to the deforestation now. Also, the big mammals like elephant and the human, we have the conflicts, and Panthera pardus scotia, and the human has a conflict because of the deforestation. They lose their habitats and they lose their food pattern and water pattern and everything. That's why now it's create the conflicts between the people and the animals, and it is effect to the one time to the people, another time to the animals, and this is the biodiversity going to be extinct. If you focused who are involved with our land grabbing in Sri Lanka, there are some Chinese companies, Indian companies, Europe and American companies. Apart that, we can see some project initiated by IMF, World Bank, and Asian Development Bank, and a lot of Chinese bank. has been involved to implement projects in Sri Lanka now. Recently, the World Bank started last year construct a road in Singharaja rainforest, and in Sri Lankan people fight against that, and we could stop this illegal road construction funded by the World Bank. Such kind of thing happening now with the multinational companies, and they are really and directly involved to destroy and grab our land from the people and the forest. So we go to next slide. Then you can see here nowadays government implementing this plan. It's called the National Physical Plan. It is 2011 to 2015. There's a mega development project, infrastructures development project going on now. So according to this National Physical Plan, we can see in the next slide, we are going to convert into the 5 major hubs, like aviation hubs, seaport hubs, economic hubs, and energy hubs, and education hubs. How to be in the hubs? They are going to privatize every sectors, like aviation and seaports, everything they are going to be privatized. To develop as a hub, they need to develop the infrastructures. That's why they need the lands and the forest to run their projects and develop their programs, and they take the lands for their projects. So we can see in the next slide what they are going to do in Sri Lanka. Actually, they are going to develop 19 airports in Sri Lanka, and big mega cities. You can see the purple colors. Those are the big mega cities, major regions they are going to develop. And the big highway they are going to construct through the Sri Lanka. Now only one piece, Colombo to Hambantota, they have finished the highway, but there are many other places they have to develop. While they are developing this highway, there's a risk for the 39 forest cover in Sri Lanka. Also, they are going to build some new forts. And finally, this highway will connect to India through the Mana. That's why Mana is very important place for the next few years for the world and Sri Lanka. That's why all the deforestations, all the mining and the business focus on this point, because the place will connect to the India, also the South Asian highway regions. That's why this is a very important place. Their land is very important, and that's why we have to put a more effort to protect the lands in Mana, also in the country. The yellow color you can see in map, that is will convert to commercial agriculture's area. After 2015, all the development finished. We have like a 10% of forest cover in Sri Lanka after finish all the development process, because you can see the green patches are forest will be remaining in the future. Only that, because if we have to protect our land and the forest, actually we have to fight to stop this national physical plan, because this is the agreement with the 36 country. They are going to develop our country according to the other countries' need. That's why we need this plan implement in Sri Lanka. So when we go to next slide, you can see Sri Lanka going to be converted to another economic corridors. One corridor is a big corridor from the Colombo to Trincomalee. They are going to give this piece of part to American. It's called there's an agreement called the MCC agreement, Millennium Challenge Cooperation Agreements, and according to the agreement, they are going to give this piece to develop to the America. There's another economic corridors, 3 economic corridors. They will give that corridors to someone else, some other countries, maybe Chinese or India. There are no clear idea about that still. Anyhow, the piece by piece, the land and the piece by piece forest, they are giving to the multinational companies and other countries their projects and the development programs, and to cultivate something for the commercial agriculture. In like this way, we lose day by day our land, our forest, our biodiversity, and our water resource, our soil resource, and our culture, also our people's life, also the farmers' paddy, we lose every day, day by day. So we can see in the next slide, once they finish the development program, how will be the Sri Lanka? This is the second map. You can see the forest cover 2010. Also now there are no this much forest cover in Sri Lanka because it has reduced day by day. That's why there are very little forest cover. Also the forest cover has there's no connection between the Vilpattua to Anuradhapura, Anuradhapura to Yala, because it was there was a connection. Elephant was going through this big forest area and the forest patches. Now they have cut down the corridors. That's why the many other problems has been created to the animal. Also the people, because of they are loose community forest, they are losing their land and the breed because of these multinational companies and the other countries has put their hand on our forest and the land. We can see in the next slide clearly how Chinese and the other countries put their hands on our forest and the land. You can see some pictures here because government has given lands to China to develop the highways, seaports, and the mega reservoir like Upper Malwatuoya. Actually, as a comrade Hemantha Vitanage mentioned, also the Tilak mentioned, they do not concern about the environment impacts, whether it's a sensitive area or not. Also, what will happen to our people and our economy. So they want to continue their project without concern anything, and they grabbed our lands without concern nothing. But government also part of this, because they gave the lands and the forests to the multinational companies, also the lot of Chinese companies, without take the permission from the people of Sri Lanka. So next slide, you can see the American Dole Company, how they grabbed our lands in some areas of Sri Lanka, like Buttala, Dunugam, Kudaya, Ulhitiya, Somawatiya. Some land has been given to the America. So when we eat our foods, just we have to focus what we eat. Actually, if we buy or if you take some foods like from the multinational companies, and just remember that you are eating our life and our children's future, because it is not only the banana, it's the sadness of our peoples, the lands of our country, and the forest of the animals. Actually, everything goes inside the banana, and people taste it, our life and the tears and the blood, now through the multinational companies. So next slide, we can see the Indian companies, how they involved to the land grab from the like Muthurajavela and the marshlands and the Sampur area. They have taken some lands. There's an agreement has been signed 2013, 7th of October by Sri Lanka and India. The power purchase agreement, also the land access agreement, coal supplement agreements. They have been signed these agreements, and according to that, they are implementing those projects. And to implement those projects, they need the land. That's why they are destroying the forest and give the lands to the Indian company also nowadays. So after happening all these things, in next slide, we can see that now, today, 3 acres of forest land destroyed daily. Every day it's destroyed, and also the last 2 months we can see like this. There's a one forest you can see, it's a beautiful, and it's in the Vaunia. Recently they fired that forest, and they are going to give that land to multinational companies. for the commercial agriculture. Like this, every day there's 3 acres of the land will destroy in Sri Lanka. And we can go to the next slide. Through destroying and the land, also the forest, they are reversing some circulation, like a circular. Recently, 2020, the government issued a circular, invalidated 3 previous circular, like a 1998/5 and 2001/5 and 2006/2. That 3 circular help to protect our lands and the other state forest. So once they revise these kind of the laws and the circular, there will be not legal protection on the land. Also, the same time, they are violating the National Environment Act, also the Flora and Fauna Act, 3rd generation human right, and the international laws. The such kind of they are violating to take and the grab the lands and the destroy our forest. So what we can do, because everything happening now in Sri Lanka, also we are in the risk in the because we are a biodiversity hotspot. According to the IUCN, there's a 35 biodiversity hotspot. To be a biodiversity hotspot, there has to be rich biodiversity. Also, it has to be destroyed in a very critical way. So we have those 2 qualities. Yeah. So we'll go to next slide and we'll finish. There's some recommendation. I think environment problem is not only the problem of nature, it is a problem of this economic and the consumption pattern. That's why I have given this kind of recommendation to take holistic approach toward the nature and land forest politics, implement eco-based politics activities against the land grabbing, deforestation, be connected irrespective nation like a Sinhala Muslim or whether it's not matter to protect the nature, to create evidence-based politics, awareness and activities within society about nature and humanity. These are my recommendation. Also, we have something else. Then we can go to the finishing slide. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think as a global citizen, we can do something to protect our Sri Lanka, also to protect our Mother Earth together. Thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. That was wonderfully educational. The last panelist we have for today is going to discuss a highly topical issue. It is about the explorative mining that is happening up in Mana, which is the northeastern province of Sri Lanka. Northwestern, my apologies. So, Mr. Jeremy, I invite you to the floor to educate us on the matter. Thank you.
We can't hear you, Jeremy.
Sorry, Jeremy, it appears that your mic is off. Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. This is a very difficult presentation for me because I'm a resident of Mana and I'm seeing many changes here. And going forward, I'm quite depressed about what is going to happen. It was only in August that we found out that an Australian company, Titanium Sands Limited, had been doing extensive exploration for heavy mineral sands for the last 5 years. Nobody knew about this, no one in Mana, the authorities didn't know and the people didn't know. This was very concerning. Now, for those of you who don't know where Monash is, it's right in the middle of the earth. So just under India. So we are in the northwest of the country. This is the district of Monash, and we're located on Monash Island. So Titanium Sands, an Australian-based company, has earmarked over 200 square kilometers for their sand mining operation. Now, they were able to see that through their testing over the last 5 years, that there is a real going concern in Monash. Monash has the 4th largest ilmenite sand deposit in the world. Now, together with ilmenite are other smaller quantities of rutile, zircon, and garnet, which makes this highly lucrative project. And being a highly lucrative project makes it more dangerous. So ilmenite sand is a weakly magnetic sand, and it is used extensively in manufacturing and production, from paints and cosmetics and plastics and paper to medical implants, cars, aircrafts, and even in the aerospace business. So it is a very modern material. Now, TSL, Titanium Sands Limited, has already been discussing deals with China to sell 19.5 million tons of this ilmenite sand, which can be used in Europe, in the Middle East, India, China, etc. Now, they haven't even dug it yet, but they are so confident that they're doing the deals already. So a little bit about what Titanium Sands Limited has done. It's acquired 2 Mauritius companies, Srinel Holdings and Bright Angel Limited. Now, these are 2 Mauritius-based companies, and there seems to be something suspicious about some of the companies that are registered in Mauritius. Now, Srinel Holding is actually not even registered in Mauritius anymore. But this Australian company bought these 2 companies because they have pre-existing exploratory licenses for Monash Island. So using that, they've drilled 3,500 auger holes on private property. And more recently, last year, they dug 473 air core drill holes to 12 meters below ground level. Now, Monash Island is a sand island. And can you imagine the sea intrusion that is going to happen as a result? And what they're finding is there are extensive ilmenite sand deposits deep down in the earth below the more surface beds. Now, they've exported 20 samples from larger areas of Monash Island, and they have established it as a commercial entity, and it's worth billions of US dollars. Now, when we move to the agencies of the government, we get a very different story. So Titanium Sands has said in their defense, hey, we've got these licenses, we've bought these companies, all these companies are our fully owned subsidiaries. So what's the issue? Geological Survey and Mines Bureau, GSMB, has said, hey, we have not issued a license to you guys, to Titanium Sands. So whatever you're doing is unlawful. And the director of Mineral Sands, the GSMB director said, you are not allowed to, once a company gets a transfer, once it gets a exploratory license, you cannot transfer this license to another company. And the local companies have never informed GSMB that they're having any involvement in a Mauritian or Australian company. Now, we have talked to we're starting a conversation with landowners. And it's very interesting. We had a lively meeting only a few days ago with 6 landowners. And we asked them, did Titanium Sands or their subsidiaries ask you for approval to go on their properties? And according to GSMB, you have to get the approval of the relevant private landowner and get their consent before you go on their property. Now, many of these guys said, we saw this machinery on our land and in our forest areas, and we asked them, hey, what are you doing here? And their answer was, we're actually testing for water to see the quality and the quantity of water here. So they misled the people. Now, most of the landowners have no idea that these almost 4,000 drilling holes have been done on their properties. Now, what are the implications? If we look elsewhere, not Mannar, but elsewhere in Kenya or in other areas of Sri Lanka, we see there's been a drastic impact on people where this mining has concerned. Health issues include skin and respiratory diseases caused by dust from drilling and sand dredging. And this is the main type of method that's going to be used in Mannar. So water contamination and increased salinity, land acquisition and dispossession, injury to employees, and humongous environmental degradation. So in Mannar, what's going to be the impact? So there's going to be extensive seawater intrusion, and this is going to really affect the groundwater supply and also the wells. Already we have a problem in the north of a diminishing amount of groundwater. This will only add to the issue. Tens of thousands of families live on the island, and their livelihoods are going to be affected for generations. As we said before, a drastic effect on the marine environment, because Titanium Sands is saying this is going to be a 50+ year project. Now, Mannar has an amazing bird population. Over 400 species come, and some of the migratory birds actually come from Australia to Mannar to Russia. So this is a highly sensitive area. Most of the island is still covered by old growth Palmyra forests, and most of the areas that are going to be mined have these Palmyra forests. Tourism is also going to be affected, because who wants to come to a place that looks like this bottom picture? So TSI subsidiary company employees have said they have government approvals, but the government is saying something very different, saying we have not given permission. So who can we believe? Now, this is what is going to happen with seawater intrusion. With more and more mining, the seawater is going to go under the island and then be sucked up into wells and irrigation. The brown tan area is the Palmyra forests. And if you see on the picture above, this is all those tiny little dots are the drill holes that have already happened. So there's going to be a huge amount of destruction. And basically, many people like Dr. Senaviratna has said that when these international companies come in, they basically rape and pillage. Sri Lanka will gain very, very little, but it will gain huge environmental and social problems. We've identified 23 major villages. These are very, very large villages that are going to be affected. So these are the disputed claims. Titanium Sand says their proposed operation is a simple, low impact dredging, mining and treatment process, whereas we know it is the opposite. It'll have a devastating effect on people, livelihoods, wildlife, especially through seawater intrusion. TSL operations, they've said in their reports, their financial reports, that TSL operations are not subject to significant environmental regulations under laws in Sri Lanka. And we know there are very strict laws and checks and balances in place here. They say they hold GSMB licenses for heavy mineral sands mining, but GSMB have said, no, that is not the case. They've given it to 5 local companies and an individual. Now, at the moment, TSI have come out and said, hey, we're not doing mining. What are you guys accusing us of? We're just doing exploration. Yes, this is true, but isn't the exploration for the purposes of a much larger and significant 50-year project? They've drilled almost 4,000 holes, some of them to the depth of 12 meters. Now, the Mines and Minerals Act says that you cannot drill under the water table, whereas in Manor, the water table is 1 to 3 meters. This is 12 meters, 40 feet. This is very significant, etc. So they also say, hey, we're going to put everything back the way we found it, you know, and they say it may include job opportunities and fully rehabilitated land for income producing crops like coconut or cashew. Once this place is devastated, you cannot put it back together again. With all the best intentions of the world, this is not possible. So what are we doing about it? We only found out about it in August. There was an engineer, and we don't really know who he is. He's said a name, but we haven't been able to trace him. But he sent titanium sand reports to government agencies and NGOs. And this is how we first found out about it in August. And we were shocked. When we tried to verify the truthfulness of it, we quickly found that, hey, we're 5 years too late. We should have been doing something about this 5 years ago. So we quickly put together a consortium, and we called it Protect Manor's Environment. And we got many of the community leaders on side. The first thing they did was they wrote to the president just before the elections, asking him to intervene. We still haven't got a response. The next 2 documents are ready to go. This is going to be a leaflet, and all our documents will be in Tamil. This is just for you. We've called it the robbery of Manor in broad daylight, because that's how we see this has happened. And also a petition, and we're hoping for more than 5,000 signatures of this. So now we're gearing up to do this level of protest. We're very fortunate that Senator Rice from the Parliament of Australia raised this issue in Parliament this month and concluded by saying projects like this bring Australian company businesses into disrepute and must be brought to bear on titanium sands to not proceed with this destructive project. So at least that is in Hansard now. So titanium sands started exploring in 2015, and that exploration is coming to an end. So general sand mining is illegal on Manor Island, and is regularly prosecuted in court because 63% of Manor is already below sea level. Recent testing using RC air core drill holes up to 12-meter depths is well below the water table and is unlawful. Testing without private land holder permission is unlawful, and we have confirmed that basically they've either misled a few or not informed the many. Local people and government agencies being kept in the dark about this significant project, we believe is unethical. No one here knew about it. According to GSMB, their licenses awarded to one company cannot be transferred, so it is unlawful. In mid-July 2020, the Minister of Industry and the Sri Lankan Cabinet Ministers approved a proposal to appoint a committee to investigate an unauthorised mineral exploration project involving an Australian company of Manor Island. I've spoken to the chairman, and that committee still has not met. So yet, whenever I see the TSL CEO, he is so confident that this is going to go ahead. But, you know, what does he know that we don't know? So this is my information sources. And we have launched an online petition through change.org. And so we would really like all of you to sign the petition and then share it on Facebook or any other way. Thank you very much. And this is very distressing for me because I love this place and we have no idea what the future is going to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. That was a very insightful presentation and indeed, as you said, highly distressing, particularly given the time that has elapsed since the exploration started and when the public actually got to know about it. To further discuss things that we have learned in this topic, let's open the floor to question and answers. We have a question from one of our attendees, Martin, and the question is directed at all the panelists. So the question is basically, what has been the policy response by the Sri Lankan government or other involved institutions to these environmental issues? If there has been any policy response, have they been effective? And if not, why and what can be done better from a policy perspective? I would invite anyone from the panel to discuss on this topic.
This is Hemantha. I think there's no single policy response. There are many different approaches, but I mean, during the last few years, I mean, still there were a lot of forest destruction. There were a lot of, I mean, the international projects, places like Colombo Port City continue to build during the last regime as well. So here, in this time, we see that under the new regime, there are more forest destruction, more sand, soil, and other mineral mining happening. So, so they should have respect to the National Environmental Act and the environmental policy, but unfortunately, we don't see that is happening. So. I think the COVID is creating much bigger issues because some of these solutions are coming as a response to the COVID responses, and mostly the government thinks that we have to stop importation of food and some agriculture commodities. So we have to cultivate more and more lands to meet the local needs. So I think that's one of the response coming from the government side. But we are trying to do, I mean, the protesting is not much happening at the moment, but so we are trying through the legal processes and communicating through the media, and there are a lot of media attention. but unfortunately, the government response is very little to these issues.
Thank you, Hemanta. We have another question that is directed to Mr. Jeremy. The question is, can you explain more to the audience what legal avenues to challenge the TSL explorations have you been pursuing? And what about the process relating to free, prior, and informed consent? So the audience would like to know with respect to your legal avenue challenges.
Yes, this is a challenge for us. There's one of our members, Shreen Saror, who's been trying to get a group of lawyers together because we don't know what way to go. So we need to get these lawyers, and that's one of the strategies going forward, to get a group of lawyers together who are keen to explore what are the avenues that can be used. Now we're thinking that we need to get titanium sands on their weaknesses. As I've outlined in the presentation, there are many. But I think if very powerful people are involved in this, it really doesn't matter what anyone else does. It's a fait accompli. I think one of the few ways it's going to be important, and we need to do many things. One of the few ways is to actually mobilize the community to do public protests and to continue to do public protests. Now, there's a very low awareness of this issue in Mana. We're gearing up to have pocket meetings and public meetings all over the place to spread the word. COVID is hurting this as well. It's very, very convenient. We're not allowed to meet in large groups, et cetera, which hampers our ability to protest. But I think this is one of the few avenues available to us. So yes, we're going with lawyers. Yes, we're courting the Catholic Church, which is probably the most the strongest institution in Mana, and we have the Mana Bishop on site, which is great. But I think it's going to come down to mobilizing local people to respond.
Thank you, Jeremy. The next question that we have is for Mr. Tilak. The question surrounds the fact that climate change is most likely to cause higher intensity rainfalls and larger flooding peaks in Sri Lanka, particularly given the landslide problems surrounding these areas where there is heavy gem mining occurring. What type of impact do you think there will be on the mining industry in the future, and how do you see the industry responding in a manner that is both environmentally safe but also safe for the people engaging in the industry?
Yeah, it's actually, as I mentioned, there are a lot of impact can be happen, because when it comes to the areas like Ratnapura and Bogavantalawa and Nuwara, especially the place called Halgranoya, and other part of the Matale, those are the landslide prone areas, and due to some of the gem mining, already there are landslides. We can see it is happening. And as I said, when you removing the lot of groundwater from those areas, it is directly impacting to the agriculture community, and also the groundwater levels go down, and it's impacting to all the tea growers, and also especially in the areas like Nuwara, Ratnapura, the smallholder tea farmers are surrounded by all this illegal gem mining and even the legal gem mining happening. They are already facing problem with the the water scarcity of those areas, and therefore they have the some of this month, like August, they are facing with lot of problems. Now their tea bushes are going to get dry, and the half of their income gone out due to this, and it's the year by year it is increasing, and due to this extra impact also coming, and therefore it will be a kind of disaster to those kind of people. In other side, the some of these areas also with this the existing forest patches, if damaging like this, it will be also causing to the watershed, and also its impact going to be high in the future. And in the some of the agriculture productivity, after the losing this agriculture productivity, the people trying to get extra income from these illegal activities, and therefore the industry also having a kind of in danger, because if this plantation company lands are gone to the government hand, if given to the people who are doing disrupted gem mining, it also creating a lot of environmental problem, like what I said, the groundwater pumping could be one of biggest impact, because of they may do, because daytime they do the legal thing, the night time they do the illegal thing, and it will be causing to the series of problem. Of course, climate change is happening now, and it is reality, and we have to face with these things, and therefore even though people who are obtaining proper license and proper way of doing this, and they will have also a problem with this disruptive situations.
Thank you, Mr. Tilak. We have a question for Dr. Ravi, particularly given that you spoke about land grabbing by multinational companies, and also the deforestation that is going to take place in Sri Lanka over the next couple of years, as the government has had an international agreement. Given that, as many of our speakers reflected, COVID has caused a lot of difficulties in terms of gathering and protesting against these types of illegal activities. Another problem that the Sri Lankan government is facing is COVID has also rapidly destroyed its economy. So development and deregulation are two conflicting aspects that are constantly battling for priorities from a government's perspective. And given that Sri Lanka is facing declining revenues, opening the country up for development through environmental deregulation might be something that the government is forced to do. As an activist, how do you comprehend the situation, and how do you try to give an alternative to a government that really needs to raise revenue, and maybe deregulation is one of the ways to go forward?
Actually, just think that someone else, when they are raping our the culture, also the forest and the land, also the economy, we are facing, and it's violating for us. So first of all, the people have to understand the someone else raped them. If they don't know what's happening. This understanding, it's a very, very low understanding, because the media and the other things, they do what government needs. Also, even they like to focus on the degradations and the protecting of the people, but they do not focus because of the government needs. They are behaving as a hand of the government. The first thing, that's why there are no way to aware themselves. Even they aware, there's a fear, because there's no protection for the people, because someone can hit or assault, or someone can kill. It's up to what's happening and how it's direct to these companies. There's a risk of the life. The other hand, we have like diversity of the act, like a biodiversity, like a many act, even to the river or to the sand or to the water or to the forest, or even they cannot pick one leaf. There's some act. Also, the can't take the one trees from one place to another place. That kind of protection we have from the act and the legal, but they are not implemented, those kind of things. In the such way, we have to stand with the international people, I think, because even we are the isolated country, so we need the hand of others to come up from these problems, because the rapists are come from internationally, from the international governments or the multinational companies. Also, we have to develop such kind of gathering, and the gathering of the activists all around the world to focus on this land, because the produce the air from the Sinharaja rainforest, not only we breathe, even the breathe the Australian people, also the breathe the other countries' people. That's why if you respect to your breath, you have to respect to our lands and our forest and our people. That's why even when you breathe in the every time, just think about what's happening to our small countries. It is not only the countries that's the land, because there's a many rainforest and it produces your oxygen. So we have stand together, the international, the community, against this kind of illegal deforestation and the land grabbing. Also, what other colleagues talk about, what other kind of the things, if they implement properly this physical plan and the MCC, so our country, there will be only the land without the biodiversity or the forest, or without the economic of the farmers and the Sri Lankan people, because when they develop, the people lose their economy, the village economy, and everyone cannot engage with the economy that they create. Then people are going to be in hunger, and they're going to lose their educations, and they're going to lose everything, even the forest. Also, the animal will be facing the disaster, because in the biodiversity, our biodiversity, it's evaluated since 1,000 years isolated island. That's why the biodiversity of our island is a very rich and it's very important for the world. So in the biological way, if every way, then we have to think how to protect this. Even we have taken some action with the World Bank and the UNESCO, the France head office. Also, we have put the petition to the Geneva Human Rights Commissions against this kind of destruction. There's many people fight together. Even we are like a separate organization, that we are raise one voice to protect this kind of our land. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Hemantha, would you have any thoughts on how the government could balance the trade-off, particularly as it tries to lift the economy from its current COVID-led economic devastation? So do you have any thoughts on how the government could balance the trade-off between development and economic environmental deregulation? Mr. Hemantha, are you with us? I will move on from Mr. Hemantha and come back to him. We have a question for Mr. Jeremy from Anjali. She says, you mentioned that the TSL sand mining project is not very well known in Mana. Could you talk a bit more about the difficulties that you've had in raising awareness, and what strategies do you think have worked, and what other strategies you intend to implement?
Yes, it's been quite difficult because it has come in this COVID era. Now there is a big fear. People don't want to move out of their villages. If someone comes into their village, they're very highly suspicious of them. Now, I think COVID has really helped to dampen our effectiveness. So we have to find ways of moving beyond the restrictions of COVID. Now, this in a few days we'll be talking to the bishop. Now, the bishop each month holds a meeting with all the parish priests. So we then will try to get a time to speak to that group of people. So we're looking at identifying leader groups like the district's fishermen's cooperative, some of the larger apex groups in the area, and then trying to address that there so that the information filters through. I think that's going to be one of the only ways we could do that. So to get a hold of religious groups, so we're going to see All Ceylon, Jamata Ulama, the Muslim group, the Tamil, the Hindus, and the Catholics. Now also some other agencies like Palmyra Industries, but the fisherman one is really important because tens of thousands of families are going to be affected by that. So we're working at that scale. We're also working through online media. We have a Mana Knows site that we'll be using. We're going to be deploying this petition. But I think we're gearing up for a large public protest. I think we can do all the other things, but in the end, it's going to be the people's voice that has some impact. There are agendas much larger than Mana playing out, international and national agendas, and we are totally kept in the dark. So our little committee has been involved in actually educating even some of the government agencies. Some of the government agencies were already aware, but they said their hands are tied. So we're trying to find the wriggle room in this space to bring awareness and to engender commitment. The major group we are going to be seeking help from are landowners, because they're the ones who are going to be most affected by this. The difficulty is that there are many landowners that are Muslim. Now, in this current situation in Sri Lanka, Muslims are not being supported that well in the community, and there's been a lot of anti-Muslim sentiments. So we're also trying to find Tamil landowners as well. But I think the church, as a significant landowner, has to be one of our major allies in this protest.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, there's one final question for you from the audience. Apsara wants to know if there is any way that we from Australia can support the campaign that you're gearing up to having in the mass protest, particularly given that TSL is an Australian company. Was there any significant help you think that an Australian audience could give you in this sector?
I think so. We've been contacting some journalists. If we can get on a premium broadcast site in Australia, like foreign, gosh, I even forget. I've been out of Australia too long. Anyway, there are particular programs there. If we can get on them, that would be a good thing. If there's lobbying by...
Jeremy, I was talking about foreign correspondent.
Yes, foreign correspondent, that's it. Thanks. I think that's going to be good. We need environmentalists behind us, because this is another example of an Australian company doing badly overseas. Australia having particular rules and principles, and then doing very bad and destructive things in other countries. And this is yet another case. So I think there is a case for really pushing this in the media. And we've been trying in our own way of to get more media coverage of this.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think that's all the questions we have for the panel today. Just in finally summarizing this segment on Sri Lanka, I was wondering if each speaker could give a short conclusion, particularly about how they believe the short-term problems with respect to environmental degradation could be solved, and perhaps one final comment about what the long-term vision for an ideal sustainable environmental situation in Sri Lanka would be. I would invite Mr. Tilak to give us his comments, and then we'll wrap up with the rest of the panel.
Yeah, it is what I can state is there are a lot of tendency with ignoring with the environmental laws and policies in the country right now. Because of national agenda, it's going with this COVID situation. Most of them are looking for a short-term income to the people. Therefore, they are accepting some of the violation of the rules. And it is not the thing we are talking about. It is our life. It is our future we are talking about as environment. And therefore, we can't forget any laws or regulations or any policies which are on environment. And therefore, what we could do as the country and look at in the bigger picture and adhere into that. Even we have some the space with the legal system, but not always work with the situations. Even the courts are looking with the development perspective, not a broader environmental the backgrounds, and therefore it is very important creating awareness among peoples and educating peoples and get their participation into our campaigns, and wherever, whenever when we have a possibilities, we will do that. And all these our problems, what Jeremy was talking about, what Hemanta was talking about, what Ravi was talking about, all these problems came from the different the groups who are not concerned with the environment. Therefore, our duty to educate our people and giving them more overview about the destructions, what can be happen in future, and that is should be our responsibility as a concerned people and also the concern on environment. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and also you have done a marvelous job, all of you who organized this, and again our big thank for you all.
Thank you, Tilak. Jeremy, any parting words for us?
Yeah, I think very challenging going forward. I think maybe one of the few ways forward is try to get into the ear of the president. Now he is a listener. He's a bit different in that sense. He's getting a lot of advice that would run contrary to everything we hold as precious and valuable. But if people can get close enough to the president, I think that is one of the few keys that's available to us. We can do things like community mobilization, and we try to do that. And we need to educate people in terms of not looking at short-term gain. Another problem we have on Mana that we've been fighting for the last 10 years is protecting our kulams, because these are our water resources of current and future generations. There used to be 180 kulams on Mana. Now there's about 12, because they have been filled and houses and roads have been built upon them. And that's why even now, our office is surrounded by water. And with another rain, our office is going to be flooded. Now, before we came along, no one made the connection between the filling of these columns and the flooding of Manor. So now the government is realizing that and is supporting us. After 10 years, is supporting us in this measure. But we don't have 10 years with this current project. And I think we can do the best we can at a local level, but we need people who are close to the president with good values to influence him.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think that concludes our segment on Sri Lanka today, and I hope everyone attending actually gained a lot of insight into the country and the dangers that the island nation is facing, particularly being in one of the larger nations far away in Australia. It's easy to lose sight of these things. I would like to thank all of the panelists for taking their valuable time to educate us, Mr. Hemantha Vithanage, Mr. Tilak Karyavasan, Dr. Ravi Karyavasan, and Mr. Jeremy Lienage. Your comments have been invaluable to us, and we've really enjoyed listening to you. I would also like to thank Andrew Griffith and Martin Wong for providing us with tech support and helping things run smoothly today. Lastly, I would like to thank IMARC Alliance for giving us the space to discuss the serious issues facing our island nation. Thank you all of you from home for joining us, and I hope you all enjoyed the panel today. Bye-bye.